everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I'm Simon. We're still going on our quest to go through every single movie ever made and objectively rank them best to worst of all time. I'm, of course, joined by an amazing team. Amelia, how's things?
Hello, things are good.
Nice. Joe, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just
Not
chilling,
much.
You know.
Same old, same old. Jacob, how's things?
Things are good. I'm here too.
Excellent, excellent. So this week we are going to 2004 for Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead. I'm very, very excited. It's not culturally relevant at all. So it was released on the 29th of March. So I want to give you a little pop culture rundown, as we always do. And let me tell you, guys, maybe it's just because we're now in the era of, like, when I was a kid, but there was more things in this list that I was like, holy shit, so many good songs. So I'm going to start really low, okay? Number 32, scraping in, Hey Ya by Outkast. It was 32, right?
Mad.
So, like, we're going to go on a good run here, right? Theoretically. Number 28, brand new in the charts, Somebody Told Me by The Killers, which is an alright tune.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I think The Killers are on like a one-man mission to be like the most like cringy like rock band ever. You know what I mean? Because like their songs
Like
are all
Year
okay,
Six.
but they make you kind of
School
go.
Kids kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, you don't want to hear any of them before like the sixth pint. You know, after that it's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll give you that.
Number 26, it had dropped quite a few places. I think it had dropped from number 11. Milkshake, 2004.
Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours.
It's a good time, guys. Good time, guys. Number 12 was Fountains of Wayne with Stacey's Mom.
Oh
my God.
Which is a song I
Very
frequently
good.
forget about. It's probably the song that's single-handedly responsible for all this MILF porn we have now. Number 9.
Probably, yeah.
Number 9. This is, I think, the worst song that just stood out to me because I was like, oh no, 2004 was Peter Andre, Mysterious Girl.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Brilliant
yeah.
song. I don't know what you're
What a
talking
song.
about.
Oh, man, we used to listen to that on the way home from college. What do you mean?
Only you say
man.
Killers is only after 6. Mysterious Girl's like after 12. Then that can come on.
Yes, I'll agree with that. I will agree with that. Number 4, it's Britney, bitch. Toxic. It just come out.
Wow. My God, what a
Another
year.
very
What a year
appropriate
this
song
is.
know.
for the times.
And I didn't list number 1 because it upset me actually that the song I've got as number 2 dropped from number 1 this week, and the number 2 song is Cha Cha Slide.
Hey.
Wow.
What? Love it.
Wait, so what replaced that then? Do you have the one number 1?
It was an Usher song. It was
Oh,
just you know what I mean? I didn't even bother like checking it.
Bad.
So, yeah, that was insane. Like, all my childhood music was all coming out all at once. And in the world of video games, one day before the launch of Shaun of the Dead, you could have picked up, let's say you were into first-person shooters on the PC, Counter-Strike Condition Zero, expansions of the first game had just come out. You might have wanted a bit of something with a bit of action-adventure. The first Far Cry had just come out. Perhaps you wanted a big old JRPG to sink your teeth in. Final Fantasy XI had just come out. Or, if you were a loser like me, you got Sonic Heroes.
Oh, that's
Nice.
a cracking game. That's brilliant.
It is not. I promise you it is not.
I'm probably going to get confused with a different Sonic one.
I mean, it's one of these where everyone I knew had it, and everyone I knew liked it, but it was all because we didn't know any better. It's not a good game.
Fair enough. I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure even I had that, and I like played PlayStation where it was just bang, shoot, fly, whoosh, sort of level.
Oh,
of
my favourite game,
video
Bang,
games.
Shoot, Fly, Whoosh. It's a shame they never made a sequel to that one.
Oh damn. That's probably why I enjoyed Sonic Heroes, or thought I did.
Yeah, maybe. Because it was a bit more...
Bang, shoot, fly, whoosh.
But regardless, in the cinemas, the very first cinematic debut of the triple threat that is Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright was about to smash its way into cinemas. Well, I say smash, okay? I remember this being a big deal. Let's do. I can't not introduce it the way you do, Jacob, because it's fun.
Yeah.
If I tell you the budget, you guess the box office. So, Shaun of the Dead, if you don't know it, was made for about $6 million, which is not a tremendous amount of money, really.
No.
That's low.
They don't
But to me,
need...
it's a lot.
I mean, yeah, on a personal level. I can only dream of seeing that much money. But, yeah, as far as our production, they don't need to do a lot, but they use that money well. Now, I can tell you all it made money, but does anyone want to take a stab at how much it made?
Did it make money in its opening weekend?
I don't even have the opening weekend number. I only have the box office number.
52 mil.
52?
What was the budget again?
6.
I'm gonna find.
Right.
I would have said around 50 or so, but I'm feeling more like it's maybe 40 odd.
I have no memory of this film coming out because I was 5, so I have no memory
Yeah, I
to
don't
base
remember.
it on. So I'm gonna say, I feel like because I studied this so much in college, it was somewhere in my essay, but I forgot the number. I'm gonna say about 30.
So you've all been very sensible, and Joe, you are spot on. It was somewhere at the back of your head. It made 30 million,
Yes.
and that as a number shocked me a little bit. Just because it didn't obviously didn't lose any money, but I struggle to find people who have not seen this film, you know? And I realize that we're way in advance and it's been out on DVD and Blu-ray and even VHS, but like, it's weird to me to think of something that's a cultural touchstone not doing like really well money-wise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I suppose.
Feels a little bit odd.
The thing it's based on, what Dawn of the Dead was what? To be fair, didn't the Dawn of the Dead remake come out this year as well? I'm sure
think
that
it
came
might
out in
have
like
done.
2004. And
Yeah.
that didn't do too well either. I mean, granted, that wasn't good. But I know the thing that it's based on, it's like, late 70s it came out.
Something like that.
So you're going to be getting people...
Romero movie.
Yeah, and bear in mind, the thing that started the zombie thing was 28 Days Later, basically, which came out only 2 years before. So, you maybe haven't got that zombie craze. Maybe this is one of the things that helped start it, maybe. If it came out maybe 2-3 years after this, if they did Hot Fuzz first and then this one, I reckon it would have done a bit more. Because...
Yeah.
then you would have had
that.
Hot Fuzz. People would have liked the film because Hot Fuzz is a good film. And then at the same time, you've got Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright all kind of in the first one. And then they come back for this one, and everyone's into zombies at this minute as well because it wouldn't be long till The Walking Dead starts. I remember when I was in year 6, everyone bloody loved zombies. You know what I mean? So I feel like it would have made more if it was the second one. But then I feel like I take it that I was going to say, I don't think they planned to make 3 originally.
Yeah, I feel like Hot Fuzz is much easier to get into as a...
Yeah.
Oh, here's this funny film that's like a crime drama buddy cop movie. We've had so many of those. People are so familiar with it. It's a lot easier to hop on board one of those than this film's about zombies, because they're cool, but I imagine there's a lot more people who would go, no, give it a pass. Like, if you're channel hopping... and you go, this is a zombie movie, a lot of people would go, nah. Whereas if they jump onto like a police crime movie, probably more likely to stick.
I would rather watch Hot Fuzz than
Hot Fuzz
was
was the first one I saw, and I saw it with some mates. And I think, it's... Because obviously the first 2 movies in this trilogy are specific points at, little nudges at genre movies. What they do simultaneously is take all the tropes of those genre movies and laugh at them, while simultaneously making something that could be considered like the definitive version of that genre movie. And trashy action, by its very nature, is a lot more accessible. And that's obviously what Hot Fuzz was cribbing on mostly.
Yeah.
Whereas, even now, we've kind of gone over this peak of like what I consider like a horror resurgence. When it felt like you couldn't move for jump scare movies and stuff, like they were just everywhere. Zombies wasn't even really a big part of that either.
No. It was kind of its own thing. It's more games and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of games came out. I feel that's why zombies aren't as big anymore. If I see something zombies now, I kind of roll my eyes at it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Like, oh man, zombies again. Jesus. The only thing I don't like...
There was... So you have COD zombies. You had Red Dead did the zombie expansion.
That was really good as well.
Which was really funny, yeah, I agree. And then, there's loads more, but the one that stands out to me is like, what? Has anyone heard of the stealth game Sniper Elite?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they did the zombie...
It's the
zombie
one.
Thing,
it's
didn't
the one
they?
that's because it's that game's really famous for being the one where you can snipe off Hitler's testicle, and it shows you the X-ray of it. But they did 4 zombie expandalon games.
Then they released them on. They released them as a full game on next gen as well, because that's how I played them. And I got 2-3 missions in and realized every mission is exactly the same, and I was bored of it. And I was like, oh man.
Strange they would choose, whenever you think zombie fighting off, you think shotgun, chainsaw, big.
Yeah, you don't think of a stealth
away weapons. It's
sniper.
not a sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Weird.
That's weird. The other one I think of is Left 4 Dead.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh,
of course,
Left 4 Dead.
Right,
you know what? Left 4 Dead. No, right. I don't consider that to be a zombie game. That game for me is gonna forever be the best game. It is a zombie game, obviously.
Zach loves it. It's his favourite as well.
Oh god, I can't express how much I love Left 4 Dead. Me and my mate would literally sit and play that game for in a time when we could play all night without getting tired. We used to literally sit there, play it 4 hours. We were like, right, we're gonna do this. We'd play we'd play the end bit over and over again until we could get it right and do it. And
have you got it on Steam? Because I do.
Yes.
Should we let's fucking play Left 4 Dead?
Yeah, man. Let's play Left 4 Dead.
I will install Left 4 Dead immediately after the show.
It's so good. It's already installed on my computer. I love it so much. I play it just sometimes.
1 or 2?
It's I've got 2, but it's got all of the maps from 1 on there as well. So I've got basically both of them. So
solid. All right, sweet. Let's talk about this fucking movie. I almost get a slight sense, maybe I'm reading too much into it, that Joe, you're trying to skirt around talking about this movie. Now, we know that you've studied it. Yes. When I told you had to watch it, and when you did watch it, did you feel it bouncing off your brain, some desperate desire to not take any of it in?
So, right, the thing with this film is, it was a similar thing with Vertigo when I watched that back. I was remembering all the stuff I was doing. But the difference is, I can tolerate this a bit more now than I could back then. So, an example would be, when we were in college, a Subway opened across the road, and we ate it basically every day for the whole year, which meant that when we finished college, I couldn't eat Subway at all. I couldn't do it. And then I had it 6 months later, and it was nice again. Similar kind of thing with this. I hated it because I'd watched it so much. But now I've watched it again, I'm like, yeah, it still burns a bit, but, it's not as bad and as, soul-crushing as I remember it being when I was studying it. But...
Well, that's good to hear. Road to recovery. That's good to hear.
Yeah, true.
So, obviously, we normally take a much more... playful, comical look at the plot and stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to do a really deep analytical dive into Shaun of the Dead.
God, no. I don't want to. I've done that once.
It starts off with it's music directly from the original Dawn of the Dead. And I mostly just, honestly, I said that mostly for a gag. But I do want to quickly break down the opening scene. I don't think it's worthwhile doing the whole movie. Obviously it is if you want to really get academic on it. There's tons for it. But in just this one scene, you see a lot of what we're going to be seeing throughout the whole movie as well. It's really well put together. So it starts off with no horror elements at all. It's really mundane. It's really normal. It's personal human problems. It's Shaun and Liz. They're in the Winchester, the bar that we're going to see at the end of the movie, and they're just having relationship problems. You have this really clever little writing tick of they'll say something at each other in an argumentative way, and then Nick Frost, who's off frame, will sort of add to it comically by yelling cunt or something at a slot machine, but it's kind of thematically, it ties in. It's really well done. And as far as like actual shot composition, so it starts off, we're closed on Shaun, we do a reverse to Liz, that opens up to show David and Diane, Liz's flatmates, who just seem to be tied on to the relationship. They're always there. Neither of them really like Shaun, but they're always there. And it ends with not really any clarity about where the relationship is going to go. It's probably closing off, and the camera pulls back in and closes back on Shaun. There's also a really nice trick with the color palette, where the only proper color in the room is coming from Liz. Shaun's wearing like white. The only color he's wearing is red, which is obviously a sign of danger, and a theme will come across the rest of the movie. And the entire Winchester is full of grays, and the extras are all wearing grays, and it's a very, very muted color palette. And that's filmmaking. That's like this movie sets you up straight away for like, it's using every single piece in the language of like cinema and how to immediately convey things about characters, relationship, plots, story arc, and setup. And it's really, really, really well done. And it's exactly this sort of talk that turns people off of film.
Yeah,
so I hope you've enjoyed this so far.
I've had to do all of this once. This is all flooding back to me.
There's just static in Joe's brain right now. It's just not listening.
Yeah. But the nice thing is I think because of these sorts of characters, and particularly because it being a comedy, it doesn't like bounce off of most viewers. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna immediately absorb all of the intricate details, but it's not as like repulsive and repelling as like, I think, really old. Like, when you think of like cinema from like the 40s and 50s, I think most mainstream audiences, it'll completely bounce off them, because it's like you just have that blank canvas language of cinema, and anything that's tried to be comedic can sometimes fail, because comedy is almost always like, what is the opposite of timeless? What's the word that you would say is the opposite of timeless?
So like a timeless movie, like something that lasts forever, like a classic, like a one-hit wonder sort of thing, I guess.
Oh, like, there is a word for it.
No, it's not that. That's still timeless, isn't it?
It's you know what?
Forgettable, I guess.
Well, because the thing that made me think about this was about 3 or 4 months ago, I rewatched for the first time since I was a teenager Monty Python's Life of Brian, which is a film I really enjoyed when I first watched it as a teenager, because I thought, oh, look at all these jokes about the church. Oh, how rude, you know? You know, and now it actually feels very tame, and a lot of the jokes kind of fall really flat, and even something that's really, really irreverent, at a certain point, it's gonna, I don't know, it's just gonna hit audiences in a different way. So like anything that I think tried to be like back then, like a little bit different, you're still gonna hit the same roadblock. And I think Shaun of the Dead's probably gonna hit this roadblock at some point as well.
But just not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I think it still works now, but maybe in another 20 years. It's like little things like you can see. Did we all see that thing that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost did recently, where they wanted to give the stay-at-home message, but they were reprising their roles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good fun. And one of the things that stuck out to me as something I don't think they needed to explain while in it was they felt the need to explain the gay joke in the actual plan. You know, where, you know, is showing, you know, Simon's talking about what he wants to go after Liz, and then Nick Frost goes, gay? Like, I think that joke in performance and writing actually comes across as what it is, which is supposed to be like schoolboy humor, how backwards and baffling it is that as a child, if you showed emotion, if you said, or if you're in primary school and you say, oh, I quite fancy her, someone will call you gay for it, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So I read that as what it was, but I feel like there's been this time has moved on, and they've been like, maybe we wouldn't have written that now. You know, you can already see
a different movie. I think.
Things.
We're not. The movie, I think the thing with a good comedy is that you were saying about being timeless. Yes, some of the jokes are eventually, you give it 20 to 30 years, it's not going to be as funny as it is when we first watched it. But I think the story will hold up.
Yes.
Like, even now, you watch it, set 2004. It's obviously set in 2004. It doesn't take me out of the story, though. The fact that they've got bloody flip phones and they're driving, like, bloody shitty cars and stuff from, like, 20 years ago. If anything, I don't see that it's 2000. I don't notice it's 2004.
Yeah.
Unless the world considerably changes to a point where it's like fucking Blade Runner or something. And it doesn't look like that anymore. But, like, you know, you go to a lot of places in London. I imagine a lot of places, not just in London, all over the country still look like that. So, the story's not going to think. If everyone still goes to the pub. The
story's really human as well.
Yeah. Like, everyone was complaining when they couldn't go to the pub because of quarantine. So it's not like anyone's going to stop going. You know what I mean? So, like, the story itself, I don't think
the main difference is no one could actually go to a pub like that anymore. It'd have to be a Spoons or a Marston's or...
It would, yeah. Fair enough. Oh, no, to be fair, there's a few near mine that are quite... Oh, crap, what's the pub called? Oh God, what's the pub called?
Do you know what? Actually, I don't know if
the Winchester.
Yeah, it's called the Winchester. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. Winchester.
I didn't mean in real life. You're not going to know what the pub near mine's called, are you? No, I mean the pub in this. Yeah.
There was a pub I went to ages ago in Salford. I can't remember what it was called, right? But I remember I decided to take myself on a little trip. Right, I was walking from my house to Smith's Toys, right. And on the way, I really needed a Waz. I'd been walking for about 2 hours. And I was like, there's a pub just down the road here in Salford. I'll pop in and I'll go to the toilet. The first thing that greets me was a sign that said, toilets for paying customers only. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit... All right, go on, I'll do it. I'll buy a drink. So I go in, and it is like a proper, like, blokes, old-timey pub, right?
Christ.
And there's this really tiny bar with this really big bartender in there. And I said, you know, I looked around, and he was like, yeah, all right. And I couldn't see a card machine. And I was like, nah, surely they've got one. I was like, do you take card? And he was like, nope. And I was like, where am I? Like...
No, right.
Like, you're in 2004,
I'm in 1995. I'm
like, 95 even me.
No, right.
There's someone smoking over there. What the fuck is going on?
Nah, right. The pub near mine, the pub that my dad goes to, right, they don't take card. But, like, if you ask them if you take card, they're like, card. What do you mean card? Of course we don't take card. And
that's basically what he did to me.
This is 2020, what do you mean? They've just done like a reservation in this pub as well. No, hold on. They've done... Yeah, that's the one, renovation. They've restored the whole thing. And it looks proper like a really nice pub. But then you go in, you're like, oh, can I pay on card? No, what? I remember I told my dad that I went, and he's like, you tried to pay on card? I was like, yeah. It's like, first mistake. It's like, what do you mean? 2020? I don't have cash on me ever. Oh man.
Well, that's it. He told me I couldn't pay card, and I had like very little cash. So I just went in my wallet and I found like £1 coin, and I was like, "What can I get with this? Like, just whatever drink I can buy with this. Give me that." And he gave me like a really tiny little glass of Coke. So,
no, not bad for quid for a glass of Coke. Not bad.
I suppose. But yeah, no, it's weird.
It was like a shot glass of Coke.
little shot of Coke for a quid. Yeah, it was really odd. So that's, but yeah, I suppose there is still pubs like that. And yeah, you're right. I think the story, I think the reason it works is because it's a really human story. It takes you until like the last 15 minutes, really, for them to even try and put aside their petty little arguments and squabbles. You know, it's a really personal. It's like they're not really all that concerned with the outbreak, and I think that is probably going to make it stand up over time. But yeah, because comedy's weird. It's like how a lot of people complained when The Force Awakens came out. People were like, oh, it's too like jokey, it's too comedy. The Star Wars isn't like that, but like Star Wars kind of was like that. you know, a lot of these jokes are just falling flat now. But they just tried to put a lot of humour in it.
We watched that Empire of Dreams documentary on Disney Plus last night. It's like 2 hours long, so fair warning if you watch it. And they literally said, like, the director of the second one, she was like, we wanted to make it funny. We wanted it to be more fun. Like, so yeah, literally. This is what stresses me out about Star Wars fans, but that's another conversation.
Oh yeah, that's a big conversation. So yeah, this movie is it's really, really good. So another thing that Edgar Wright employs a lot is constant, like, setup and payoff. So you know, we cut to, like, Shaun's apartment, and it's a mess. Ed's playing Time Splitters 2, which is a game I do own, but I've never played, so maybe I should bang it on sometime. It looks fun. And, you know, Shaun goes out to the shops, and this path that he takes is the exact path that he's going to take as he's learning that the zombie outbreak is actually, like, occurring. It's really, really good. The shots are kind of identical. I mean, apparently, the one where it's all fucked and there is zombies was, like, the very first thing they shot. Which isn't the first thing that I would shoot. Like,
no. I suppose get the harder ones out the way, I suppose.
I guess.
Get the harder shots out the way. Like, what would be easier to know that you've got...
It's way messy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
you want to start clean and then fuck it up and shoot that, surely. Yeah.
That would... Oh, yeah, that is weird.
Unless they were thinking they've then just got to make it clean again afterwards.
I suppose
that's
so.
That's a good point. That's fair. Unless they got there and it was already an apocalypse when they got there, because it's like a dodgy part of London or something. Like,
but yeah, so it's a lot of like setup and payoff that you see in the way that they shoot it and the way that they write it. You see a lot of creative use of, like, imagery. So as the opening credits play, you see a lot of, like, zombie-esque imagery, but in normal things. So you have, like, seeing people coming out of the club and they're all kind of stumbling and staggering in time. You know, like, retail workers moving really, really slowly and in unison, and they use a lot of that kind of imagery. And then you have the direct callback to the original Day of the Dead, where, like, Shaun, like, stumbles into frame and he's yawning, and it's all really, really good stuff. So yeah, using a lot of I think another one of the really big things that is, like, setup and payoff that people seem to remember is You've Got Red on You.
Yeah, love that one.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that just stands out. Apparently, they wanted the red to appear, like, on screen as he said that, and then they built this whole contraption that he wore, and then they just decided not to do that because it would, like, on his shirt went shh as he said it. Which I don't think makes any sense. I'm glad they didn't do that.
So wait, it was leaking on screen, like it was a practical effect. Like,
yeah.
That's mad. Mad? Why?
Exactly. Why?
That's
I don't know why.
Weird.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, you meet Phil. Phil's in the video store, and you immediately get the sense that their relationship is not okay. It's Bill Nighy. Bill Nighy back from Dead Man's Chest from the previous week.
I always forget he's in these films.
Amazing.
Because he's in all of them, isn't he? There's a few of them he's in all of them.
He's not in World's End.
Is he not? No, he is. He is. He plays the voice of the alien thing at the end.
Fuck, he does. Yeah, of course
he does. He is. He's in all of them. I knew he was. He's in all of them, yeah. Yeah, because he plays the constable or something, doesn't he, in the second one?
In the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
You're beginning to make us all look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen him pull out a bad performance. Ever.
No. Bill Nighy.
He can pull off. He was genuinely threatening to me as Davy Jones when I was a kid. In Hitchhiker's Guide, he's absolutely fucking hilarious as Slarty Bite Fast. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Should definitely watch Hitchhiker's Guide at some point. Yeah, Bill Nighy's fantastic. So yeah, him and Shaun, he's Shaun's, like, stepdad. They do not have a good relationship at all. Anyway, so the outbreak kind of happens, like, in the background of all the shots, and I really like that. You have, like, transitionary shots where someone will, like, run past a shop, or you'll see what's the one where he's in the flower. Is it in the flower shop where there's that zombie trying to eat the pigeons?
A man just eating pigeons.
Yeah. It's great, and I love that. I love that idea that it's just, like, happening and people are oblivious to it and people are trying to ignore it. Again, that's not culturally relevant at all right now. Carry on, Joe.
No, I was just going to say, like, with things like this, I feel like that's one of the things I liked about this when I first watched it, was that I feel like that would happen, especially with a zombie apocalypse, because the thing, like, you see people acting weird in a park or whatever, trying to chase a pigeon or whatever. That's not like, you know, I see that sometimes.
If you only catch it out the corner of your eye, you wouldn't think anything of it. Yeah,
like it's like something massive could be happening, and half the population. I mean, not at the moment, obviously, because they're making a big deal about it. But something massive could be happening, and you wouldn't even know because people are just like on the phone or whatever, not even like look around. You're like. I like not the other week, obviously, but at some point I was walking back. Actually, it was when I lived in the other house. I was walking to get the bus, and I was just on my phone, and I walked down one of the streets in Manchester. You know, perfectly empty street. And then as I turned round at the end of the street, I took my headphones out, heard a siren, I turned around. The entire street was all of a sudden filled with police. And I turned around, and I was like, when did that happen? I just walked down from there. Did I miss something? I was completely oblivious to it. And it's things like that. And that's the thing in this film that I like, is that he doesn't notice it at all. The world's just ending around him. And he's just buying he's just like buying flowers, and he's like, I feel like that's how it would be. Until something considerable
real,
happened.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So until something considerable happened,
Like, you know how a lot of other zombie films they show you the first zombie almost always, and how the outbreak begins. Like, oh, it's a zombie movie, but with this, you know exactly what you're getting into from the start.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea of that, you don't need to be told or shown it's a zombie movie. Look, here's what happens. They bite other people. You just know.
Yeah.
And they don't try and pretend like you don't know what a zombie is. Even that scene like later on, where he's looking out the letterbox, and it's any zombies out there, like. Don't call them that, because when do they ever get called zombies in zombie movies?
Yeah. Well, I love the there's something that they said. I watched the director's commentary, and there's something they said that I hadn't even really considered, is that so when the girl is in the garden, which we'll get to in a little bit, and she turns around, they assume she's drunk. You would like lodge in real life, you know, maybe she's got contact lenses in. You know, there's a bunch of like rational explanations you would throw out there before you reached she's undead. You know?
Yeah.
So he's buying flowers. He's got to rush to Liz's. The flowers were originally for his mom, but he's got to rush to Liz's. He's got to try and save his relationship. And this is another bit of like little camera work that I personally think is amazing. It's really, really subtle. So he shows up at her door, but we're shooting it like through the window in a door, so it's actually creating a 4:3 frame in a widescreen 16:9 movie, which is really, really limiting Shaun and keeping him isolated and keeping him on his own. It limits his available space. It's a really nice way to isolate a character. You know, they're not letting him in, and he's like, right, well, I'll get him myself. They all look over to the window, and they're ready for him to come up. And then he just buzzes again because he can't do it. It's great. And then that's it. It's they let him in. He tries to make amends. He can't do it. And they kick him out, and you return to that 4:3 shot of him just having you hear the door slam, and it smash cuts to like he's outside. You return to the 4:3 shot, and it pans forward, pushes forward. And because you can see more through the window, it becomes a full 16:9 frame. He's now got more freedom because he's now not in a relationship, but it's not what he wants. He's got more space to move, but it's a sad scene. And I think that's really good camera work. Love it.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
That's something I just like about Edgar Wright and his style of movie making. I mean, we talked about it a bit in Baby Driver, way back when, but. Like, especially compare this to, say, like The Shining, which is another, they use a lot of camera work and movement and framing to try and convey a story. But in most of what Edgar Wright does, it's much more obvious.
Yeah.
Like, whether that's because I, as you may or may not know by now, I don't study film. I don't know a lot about the technicalities of stuff. But in this, it's very like, especially he makes it obvious and easy to see what's going on. So the shots where they do the first shot of one thing and it's normal, then they do it again and it's all different, or people have like assigned colours like in Baby Driver, or it's just a lot more obvious, and it makes it a lot more. It makes the viewer seem smart. You feel smart whenever you twig something.
Yeah.
You're like, I get that. This is clever. Even though there's often movies that do cleverer shit, but you're not just clever enough to see it, like with The Shining.
I think as Edgar Wright's someone who so thoroughly immerses himself in like filmic language, that those parts of filmmaking for him are the fun part, you know, are the things he really wants to do. It's why he likes him in the first place. I follow him on Instagram, and since this whole lockdown thing started, he's been posting like a big chunk of all the films he's been watching every single day, and there's always like 6 films that he's watching in any given day, and like none of them are any like newer than like 1970 or something. He's like just taking this as an opportunity to like, he's already done it, and he's re-immersing himself in this, in the history and language and all of cinema, and you can tell that he loves it. It doesn't really matter how good or bad a story is or anything. It's just like this idea of conveying something through moving image is fascinating to him, and he enjoys it, and that I think comes through in such a way that it doesn't feel like he's being like so obvious that he's bashing you over the head with it, but it does feel obvious enough that anyone can see it. I feel like we're currently at the stage where academia doesn't want to admit it, but in another 20 years, I think people will more regularly study Edgar Wright, and they probably will get as pissed off as Joe did having to do it. But it's, you know, because he's current now, so it doesn't feel like you should be studying current films. But the man's just good at it, gets it. So
the reason we didn't even study him because he was Edgar Wright. We studied this film because it was a British zombie film. That was the reason we studied it.
Really?
That was the reason.
Weird reason.
It is a weird reason. Yeah, we had to study. We were doing the thing we were studying was the essay was about British films and the genre that my tutor picked. Because I mean, he didn't just pick the films. There was like a whole different variety of different films that he could have picked. And he picked zombies as the genre. Well, I wouldn't say genre, but the theme. And so we did this, and 28 Days Later, and we had to compare them because they were 2 zombie films. And obviously one of them was a comedy, and the other one, not so much a comedy. So, but no, I mean, you talk about Edgar Wright, though, you know what I mean? Naturally, it comes to thingy. And then the other one, who makes 28 Days Later? Was it Danny Boyle who made 28 Days Later?
Yes.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. They're 2, like, now, big English directors. And they both... I wouldn't say that either of them particularly make... you wouldn't... I don't know, they make their own stuff, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Edgar Wright makes his stuff that he chooses he wants to make. And Danny Boyle kind of does the same. I can't remember what he made last. What was the last thing Danny Boyle made?
I feel like
I honestly don't know.
Really recently, wasn't it?
Was it? I know
I feel like
the
it was
last
either this
thing
year or last year. Something really recent.
The last thing I remember was Trainspotting 2, which was 2017.
God,
which
I
really
forgot they
liked.
did a sequel to Trainspotting.
I really like the sequel to Trainspotting. It's really good. Like, I really enjoy it. What's the thing? Should we have a look? He did 120 yesterday. He did yesterday. That was it.
That's
that
right.
thing about the Beatles
yeah.
don't exist. Yeah. Miss Saigon. Why is he doing that?
Ow.
You doing alright, Amelia?
Yeah, there's a reason. Right, I remembered halfway through, like when we started, that because we're into right, feeling it. Go away. Basically, you know how we do all this poster collecting lark and all that. One of the artists has started a cornetto trilogy, and when we went to Thought Bubble convention this year, they were giving out coasters from the Winchester.
Mate,
Damn.
yeah, I saw those on your Instagram. They're amazing.
And so I texted Zach, go away. I texted him like, oh, can you give it to me? And all I heard was something slide under the door, and I was like, well, that's not going to help. Like, so he came in and he launched it, and it went down the side of the bed. So I was just like, but yes. So that's the company. If you want to go, and
Vice Press. That's amazing.
But
That's way
amazing.
cool.
We've got
Does it
4
have
of
the
them.
quote
So
on it?
I want one.
it says, "Have a nice cold pint. Wait for this all to blow over."
Oh,
Brilliant.
Nice.
Because there's a bit like
Nice.
there's a bit in the movie where he quotes a beer mat, isn't there?
Oh really? Oh, I don't remember.
There's a bit where he says something really dramatic to Liz, and she says, "Did you read that off a beer mat?" And he went, "Yeah, it was like Guinness, cold Guinness or something."
Was it the one where he's like, "You got to do it together" or something? I can't fully remember it.
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so sorry, that's what I was laughing at.
No, that's amazing.
No, pretty cool.
Carry on.
So so there's another really cool thing that Edgar does a lot, which I'm a fan of, which is tool up sequences, but with really mundane things. So you see them do like a tool up montage shot for making tea, or for brushing
Love
your
that.
teeth, or
Having a piss.
for having a piss. Yeah, for anything. I love it. It's so good. These like zoom in little macro shots and really quick editing, and they're really fun. And one for doing shots, which is kind of where we are in the movie. So Ed meets Shaun at the Winchester. He's just been dumped. He's in tears. He's wet through because of the rain. And oh God, what song comes on the jukebox? If You Need Me Now, isn't it? If you need me now.
That was it.
I think it is, yeah.
It's like, who put this on?
It's
So random.
So that song comes out. So Ed like goes into panic mode. He's like, right, get some shots in, and then love this. He proceeds to prophesize the whole movie. So he's like, here's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to wake up. We're going to do some Bloody Marys. So Bloody Mary, there's a checkout girl called Mary in their garden, covered in blood, in the morning. Then we're going to go have a bite at the king's head. Those zombies come off and bite Phil's head, bite Phil in the neck and the head and everything. Then we're going to stagger to the Winchester, much like zombies would. And finally, shots. It's great.
So good, that. So good.
Yeah. So they drunkenly like go home. They have a little sing song with a zombie. It's great. They're fucking DJing at like 4 a.m, pissing off their roommate. Pete, it's called Pete. Pete comes down and has a massive fucking go and lobs a record out the window. And of course, what's the line? Something about the door being open. It's great.
The door's fucking open, of course.
Fucking open. So yeah, we cut to the morning. A bit hazy, a bit hangovery. You know, do you want anything from the shops, mate? Cornetto. Off he goes. Off Shaun goes to get a strawberry cornetto. He passes a fuck ton of zombies on his way. Wrecked cars. Lampposts are knocked over. There's blood on the fucking ice cream
That always
on the
makes me laugh.
fridge.
So he sort of slips in the blood as well and just carries on like nothing's going on. Just doesn't check see what he slipped on. He's just looking at his phone or whatever he's doing.
Comes home, and it's only when Ed's like watching the news that it's like, there's something is going on here. This is a bit weird. And then there's a girl in the garden. So they realize she's a zombie when she falls back and impales herself. That's a great shot as well when she stands up and you can see their reaction through the hole. So they go and they acquire weapons. So they get a mug, like a mug stand and a toaster, and they're lobbing. Oh, and I forgot to mention the other zombie comes in as well, the big guy, and nothing's working. But handy dandy, Pete happened to chuck that record out last night, so let's try chucking records at them. And they sort through all of Shaun's old records, and he tells them the ones that they can't throw because they're collector's items. And I love it. I love the disillusion of tension. It's great.
Doesn't he throw like one of the Batman soundtracks?
Batman soundtracks, yeah. The Prince one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
The fact that the shed was behind them, and it was always going to be behind them, because they're trapped between the zombies between them and the shed, or them and the house.
It's them in the house, because they've gone to the window, so they've come out the back door, and
So the fact that the shed was all behind them the whole time, but no, let's throw things at them instead, and then sometimes they miss, sometimes they don't. That whole bit.
Eventually, phenomenal. Shaun realizes exactly what you've just said and goes to get actual weaponry. Comes out with a shovel and a bat. They can't really hit the ones they stood in front of, so they try and take it over again. And I lose it every time listening to them fucking splat the zombies for just a little bit too long. It's good because I do love that aspect of this movie as well. Is that a lot of zombie like media has, for whatever reason, when you become a zombie, your head becomes super fragile, but that doesn't make any sense, you know? So this is actually a bit more like what it would be like to try and, you know, get rid of someone's head. Yeah. So they deal with the fact that they've just done a murder, and they watch the news again, and Jeffrey Thomas is like, so you have to either remove the head or destroy the brain. I'll say that again: remove the head or destroy the brain. And then, you know, the advice is coming in: absolutely stay inside, lock your doors, and stay inside. Again, not bearing any current social climate situation. So, of course, Shaun ignores this because he's British and formulates a plan. I did the plan bit last week. I'm not going to do the plan bit this week. It's good fun. The plan is to get Mum, to kill Phil, to get Liz, to go to the Winchester.
Wait for it to blow over?
What?
Wait for it to blow over?
Of course.
You didn't see the bit at the end?
They got to wait for both of this to blow over. I told you I'm not doing the bit.
I know, but you basically did the bit.
I don't have a pint.
Do that last night. Not last night, last week.
Honestly, I couldn't even walk for the rest of that night.
Oh dear.
Bad times. So yeah, that's what happens. Is they go to Mum's first. It's the first time we see her. Shaun's mum is played by Harriet Jones, former Prime Minister.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, you missed the bit where they kill Pete. I love that bit. That out of all the bits in this film, the bit where they're at the bottom of the stairs and he's just going, Pete, and then Nick Frost just goes, "Oi, prick!" Because me and my mates used to do that all the time in college. Like, we would just be walking across the thing and you would just hear, "Oi, prick!" from the other side of the fucking thing in college. And you're like, oh god, who's that? All the time. We used to just quote, that's the only line in this whole film. Like, we used to quote Hot Fuzz lines all the time, but that's the one from this film that we always used to quote.
Nice.
Oh,
so generic as well. It's like someone shouts and you go, "Oh yeah, that's that line from Shaun of the Dead."
It's the way they were saying it, you know. As soon as I heard it, I was like, "All right, I wonder who that is." They're obviously talking to me, and it was a massive thing as well. It wasn't small. Like, they would have had to shout it loud.
So what I think you might be coming to the realization of is that they weren't quoting Shaun of the Dead at all. This is actually just what they thought.
Yeah, it's fine. I used to say it to them as well, so it's all good. It's all good. It's all in good fun.
So yeah, of course, they try and dispose of Pete. They would be unsuccessful. We'll find out later. And they go to Shaun's mum's, and I love the bit where she's making tea. So Shaun goes to kill Phil, and he's just sat in that chair, and he starts to swing. He's like, "Shaun," and he just turns around.
Like, I'm sorry, Phil. Why? What have you done now?
It's great. So yeah, they're essentially treating it as if Phil's just got the flu and it's nothing to worry about, and we're just going to ignore this whole situation in order to try and convince his mum that they should kill him. Shaun says that Phil touched him and then immediately retracts that lie. When they finally get back out, so Ed was supposed to be waiting in the car, and he's like accidentally crashed it. So now they have to take Philip's Jag instead. So Phil's very, very, very against this. But they get in, they get the Jag, stick the tape in. Ed's flirting with Shaun's mom. It's a great time. So, yeah, so they're driving off. They go to Liz's, and again, we go back to that 4x3 shot. That's what we start on. And then we push forward again to learn that Shaun is not alone this time. And there's a bunch of zombies coming right for him. They can't open the door because there's zombies everywhere. So we look at the window again. And he makes it. He's actually fucking climbed up. Set up and payoff. Apparently, the actual original audio for this, Simon Pegg came over the window and went, "Oh, bollocks!" And they cut that out. And I think that's a shame.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I think that would work really well. So, despite all logic, Shaun manages to convince Liz and David and Di all to come with them. And wait, no, shit. No, Phil's gonna die soon, isn't he?
Yeah,
he dies after this.
He got bit before they got in the car at his mum's house.
Yeah, some of the scene kids from the intro who are now zombies, like they bite his neck off. So Shaun and Phil actually have like a bonding moment. They come to realize that they've both quite not tried as much as they might have needed to, and they just about mend the relationship as Phil turns and he's a full-on zombie. Yeah. So they got to leave him behind. Shaun convinces his mum that there's nothing left of him now. They ditch the Jag, and what are they gonna go now? There's nowhere for them to go. They're at the back, through people's gardens. What's the matter? Never taken a shortcut before. And that's like a moment in film history now. That's like, it's so instantly recognizable, and in a way, I'm surprised other things haven't cribbed on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that with the homages to it in Hot Fuzz and World's End.
Yeah.
Where he does it very successfully, like flips over all of them. It's just very clear stunt doubles each time as he ducks behind. And then
doesn't then thingy?
Nick Frost tries to do it and just falls through it.
He runs straight
barrels
into
right through.
And then the whole fence falls down.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's great stuff. So they get through, but Shaun's mom sees someone she might recognize, and this pajama zombie comes out. They're all chatting away. They suddenly realize Shaun's mum's not there, so Shaun does a front flip over the garden wall to go and get his mum. And the pajama zombie's out, and how are they going to deal with him? How else but with swing ball? And I love the way he tries to actually hit him with the softball before realizing impaling is an option. So they stab him up against the tree, and Shaun's mum is a little bit shaken. And I think she did a really good Penelope. That's her name, the actress name. She did a really, really good job from this sequence on of something obviously being wrong, but desperately trying not to show it. Really, really good performance from her. So after that, they bump into Jessica Hines' crew. This is really mostly a nod to Spaced, because she was the co-star for Simon Pegg in Spaced. So they're old mates, and they've got this whole crew that's basically identical ones to our crew. There's some nice little casting matches. So you end up with Tim and Dawn from The Office and Bernard and Fran from Black Books are kind of on opposite sides. That's really nice. And even though these characters are so similar, essentially they represent the characters we would be following if this was a normal zombie film. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. Isn't it thing? Isn't one of them Martin Freeman? Because he's the other one that's in all three of these films,
Tim from The Office. Yeah,
because he's kind of like
So it's Martin Freeman. Matt Lucas is there.
There's Thingy from Friday Night Dinner. What's her name?
Tam. Yeah, something. Yeah. I forget it's her as well. Yeah,
she's in it.
Yeah, I know who you mean. She's in that episodes thing as well, isn't she? With the guy from Friends.
Yes.
Yeah, she's in that as well. Oh man. Then I never watched Space though. Space is well good. I love Space.
Yeah, I've seen the first half of the first season, and I did
basically
really like it.
You didn't like it.
No, I did really like it. I don't know why I stopped. I've never got back to it.
It's just Edgar Wright the series is all it is, really.
Isn't that what inspired this whole film? It was like
well, he made that, and then once they all finished that, that's the reason he works with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, because both of them have worked with him in that.
Yeah,
and the three of them made that, and then they were like, "Do you want to make a film?" And they were like, "Yeah." Apparently, there's an episode of Space where it starts out where Simon Pegg's character's playing a zombie game. I think he's playing Resident Evil or something. But what they did was they had him playing it, like he'd been playing it so much that he was dreaming about it, and that's how the episode starts. Yeah. So it's him in Resident Evil, and it's while they were filming that they got the idea for Shaun of the Dead. Because they were like, what if we make a whole film of this? And it's like Dawn of the Dead, but like it's our version of it. That's where they got the idea while they were making Space. So there you go.
Do we know, I might be misremembering this, but do we know how Simon Pegg and Nick Frost met? It's the most appropriate fucking story.
I've heard this on Top Gear when they did an interview together. I'm pretty sure it was where I heard this for some reason.
Yeah. One
of them did an impression of a Star Wars droid.
Yeah.
And the other one was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so they became friends.
So I think it was Simon Pegg was doing stand-up in a pub and Nick Frost was there. And Nick Frost was like a struggling actor. And he did a couple of Star Wars jokes in the bit. And then after the show, he went to sat at the bar, and yeah, I think Nick Frost ended up doing an impression of a droid because they'd done the Star Wars jokes, and then they bonded, over Star Wars.
That sounds like a film in itself.
It does, doesn't it?
The origin story of Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
See, Simon Pegg's in quite a lot of stuff still.
He's in so much stuff.
I don't see Nick Frost as much as I wish I did. He should be in more.
He's really good as well. Honestly, he's so talented. The answer's probably no here, and I don't blame you, because I don't think it's a movie that tried to appeal to as many people as it should. Did anyone see Fighting With My Family?
I didn't. I've heard it's good, though. Is that the Stephen Merchant one?
Is that the one with Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah, so Stephen Merchant directed it. So it's weird, because it's a weird film to make, really, because it's only going to appeal to a certain amount of people anyway, and I don't think they made as much of an effort to market it. So it's directed by Stephen Merchant, and it's produced by The Rock, and it's about a real women's wrestler in the WWE called Paige, and how she got into wrestling growing up, what her whole family, because her whole family's into wrestling, and the family are just a bunch of fucking carnies, basically, right? They're famously like grifters and liars, and like they're a funny old bunch, and it's about her, and it's about their family, and Nick Frost plays her dad, and he's fantastic in it. He's really good. And the movie's only okay, but he is fucking awesome. And I would actually recommend watching it on a chill afternoon just for him, honestly. Really good. He's good in Attack the Block as well. Small part in that, but he's good in that.
I can see him just... Simon Pegg is a dad of someone, but he's playing the dad who is the main character in the book or something. That's it, The Boys. Yeah. Sorry.
The Amazon.
I forgot he was in that.
It's really. I enjoyed it.
I forgot Simon Pegg was in that. Oh my god!
I've still not seen that. You know.
You'd enjoy it.
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
He's surprisingly talented and just is in everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of the good nerdy shit. He's in that.
Yeah.
You can tell when he's really into something, like
Star Trek. The new Star Trek films, which I didn't realize to begin with that he wrote. Did he write and direct or just write?
He wrote the third one.
He helped. Yeah. I think he helped write one of them, didn't he?
Because JJ didn't write it, definitely. No, JJ wasn't involved at all in the third one, was he?
No.
He was. I think he was involved on like a minor level. I think he was a producer on it. He was still involved somehow. I'm sure he was. Hold on, let me check.
I mean, I've heard pretty mixed things about that. But I've almost consistently heard that it's fun. Like, even the people that weren't keen on it were like, well, it's not really Star Trek, but it was fun.
Yeah, he was a producer on it, yeah. I mean, I went to watch the third one in I went to watch the third one in the cinema. And, yeah, it's alright, yeah, it's not bad. I quite enjoyed it. It's not as good as the first two.
Sorry. Did you like Into Darkness?
Well, I mean, I'm not a Star Trek fan, so I enjoyed it as a film.
No.
What?
It's not good as a film, though. It's awful.
Is that the second one?
That's the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I've only watched it once.
It's boring.
I couldn't tell you anything.
I preferred the third one over that one. The third one was much smaller.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong then. I couldn't tell you a single thing that happens in that film.
I do like the first one. I do like the 2000.
I like the first one. I've seen the first one a few times. Yeah. That's the one with the time travel and shit, isn't it? Where you go back on.
Do you know what I kind of love about that? Is like Star Trek is quite an alienating brand anyway, because it's not remembered as it's not an action adventure show. It is a more harder sci-fi, and it's more about political and race discussions, and it's quite interesting. It's quite thoughtful, but obviously it reaches a smaller audience. So they marketed that movie as being kind of the big fun action adventure version of Star Trek that anyone could get into, and then they doubled down on the sci-fi bollocks. Yeah. Like I love the balls of them for that. Like I really do.
See, I'm looking at pictures from Into Darkness, and I don't remember this one. I have definitely seen it, but I couldn't tell you anything that happens in it. There's the poster is the Enterprise crashing, and I don't remember that happening in the film.
That happens in every film. I swear.
Yeah, true. It does happen in the third one. That's the whole point. Isn't it the third one? I thought that was the poster for the third one, honestly.
That's kind of the thing with those two, I guess. I'm pretty sure it crashes. It crashes in all of them.
Isn't the third one the one with Idris Elba as the bad guy? It is, isn't it? Plays he plays... I don't know, I can't remember. It was cool. I enjoyed it. Maybe I didn't enjoy this. I mean, you know what? I don't know. Star Trek. I'm not a Star Trek fan, so I don't know.
Are we at the point, potentially? Because, so all three of these guys... I mean, obviously, Nick Frost stars in all these Cornetto trilogy movies, but he's much less involved in actual writing and production. It's like, they're all three of them written by Simon and Edgar, but it still feels like a bit of a threesome, you know? Gonna use that word without popular meanings, yeah. Are we now at the point? I think we've always been at the point, really, where we'd like to see another.
I would
from them three.
Yeah, like I always thought Paul was the third.
Yeah,
one
I thought
in this
Paul
trilogy
was when it first came out.
Ages, but then, only because it had those two in it, and it was funny, and it was. But thematically,
that's a good movie as well.
It is. I enjoy it, but it's not the same as if Edgar Wright had done it.
Yeah.
Not at all, but it's still... I preferred it because if you're going to make an Alien movie with those two in it, I'd rather they made Paul than The World's End.
Yeah.
But The World's End is very much more Simon Pegg... No, not Simon Pegg. Edgar Wright.
I mean, The World's End, out of the three of them, even depending on how much, you know... out of the three of them, I think I like The World's End the least. Still, I enjoy it, I'll watch it, but... It's not as good as the first two.
I'll say this. I've found that The World's End gets better every single time I watch it. But like, whereas the other ones are just kind of like, oh yeah, that is as good as I remember. But it's the one that when I think about them like firsthand, yeah, I'm the same. It's the one that if I was to instinctively rank them, it would be the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the thing with Paul is, I always thought the three, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and at World's End. No, at World's End's bloody the Pirates of the Caribbean one. No, the World's End.
The World's End.
Out of the three of them, they're obviously British films, aren't they? They obviously have American influences, whatever, but they're British films. They're filmed in England, British actors, British everything.
Yeah.
Whereas Paul, I find that Paul is America's version of those films.
That's fair.
So if they were made in America, they would be like Paul. Paul is, just America's version of it, kind of thing. And I mean, it's not as stylish as.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Edgar Wright makes it very stylish.
Edgar Wright makes it a lot more stylish, and it's very Edgar Wright. Whereas Paul, it's more of a traditional style film with more traditional shots, but it's still good though. I enjoy Paul. I watch Paul every once in a while. Like, people hate Seth Rogen, but
he's good as that character.
He can do some funny stuff.
I get that the character basically is just Seth Rogen, but like,
oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
you know what I mean. It kind of works when you put like a grey alien over it. Like, it becomes comical.
I love the bit in that where fucking Sigourney Weaver just shows up.
Shows up right at the end.
Gets fucking crushed by the thing. Oh man, what a film! What a film! And the guy who plays Boyles in it as well. I always forget that from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I
playing the same character essentially. Yeah, just Charles Boyle in that as well. Yeah,
it's mad. I always forget it. Oh man, Bill Hader as well. What a film! Might watch it again at some point. Right, go on, Shaun of the Dead.
They're good. And I think the demand for this group of people never went away, but I'd like to see it again. But, you know, that is entirely based on what they want to do. Like, I don't want to see them half-ass a movie because there's, like, demand for it.
Yeah.
I'd rather there be, like, no demand for it and they say, fuck you, this is what we're doing, because they're
Guess what we're making. Ayo.
invested in it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Where the hell were we? We were...
Winchester.
Phil is dead. Yeah, they've done the garden jumping thing. And Shaun goes over to check if the coast of the Winchester is clear. Oh, is it clear? No.
Oh.
How many? Lots. We pan up and there's just this ridiculous amount of zombies everywhere. Apparently, they'd got in like all the extras that they'd hired and they did all the makeup and everything. And then local residents from around were just interested in seeing, because there was already quite a lot of people there, seeing the production. And they started asking the crew, like, can we be a zombie? So the reason there's so goddamn many of them is because local residents just wanted to, like, local kids and things like that, just wanted to.
That's amazing.
And all that, you know, if you just keep the camera quite far away from them and they just do little movements, it's fine.
So they didn't have any makeup around or anything. They just got involved in that.
Yeah, they just got involved.
That's
awesome.
pretty sick.
I like that.
You put the makeup ones at the front where you can see. Stick everyone else in the back. There you go. Sorted. That's a lot of. That's pretty sick. That's why you film
like
in a
money saver as well. Yes, didn't
that right there is why you
I don't
film
think
residential
there
areas.
was. Sorry, go on, Joe. I told you.
Just saying. No, I was just saying. That's why you film residential areas, isn't it? Get everyone involved. Knock on people's doors. Like, I do.
Apparently, cause they did run into problems with this. So the flower shop scene we talked about earlier is they were obstructing like a pathway where they had like angry bypassers wanting to go to like the shops and get a newspaper and have like a coffee and stuff, and they couldn't, and they were getting angry and restless. But for things like this, yeah, people wanted to get involved, and I think that's really cool. And because CGI was used in this movie a little bit, like some of the vinyl records that get thrown, the ones that go quite close to the heads and stuff, they are CGI instead of practical. And you have like CGI blood and everything. But I don't think any was used on that big shot there because, you know, there was enough people to get involved. And
that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
I sorry, I've just realised one last thing.
Yeah.
About this shot. So, like, when you have a horde of zombies, like World War Z or World War Z, the zombies in that, when they have a horde, they're fucking everywhere. Like, there's not a single bit of space where you can see the road or the walls or anything behind them. But I feel like that would have been too much to have something like that in this movie.
Yeah.
So when he looks up and he says there's lots, you go, that is lots, and that is a threat, but it's not big Hollywood CGI zombies everywhere.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I think it added to the movie rather than...
It's relative, isn't it? Because if you want to like do like a zombie action movie and you want to give all your characters like shotties and machine guns and stuff, you want like a ridiculous wave of zombies. But if you're having just regular people, then this is plenty enough. This is way more than enough.
I think it worked rather than going overboard and crazy on it.
Yeah. So how are they gonna bypass it? Well, Dom from The Office has a Amdram skills. Limber up and do some impressions of zombies to get past. How would we all have fared, do you reckon? Can we do good zombie? Can we do it? Can you do it?
Don't make us do it. I didn't sign up for this.
Denied. Well, in that case, you'd have probably been eaten. Jacob's been eaten, guys.
Oh no.
He just wouldn't do it.
One less person, I suppose. It's all good. One less person to feed.
So they do it. They do comically pretty bad zombie impressions, but it gets them by. It gets them all the way to the door until the person who Nick Frost's been texting the entire way that they've been out and about suddenly gives him a ring and he's like, hey, how you doing, man? And he just starts fucking attracting everyone. Shaun knocks the phone out of the way. There's this massive argument and they look around and all the zombies are just staring at them, which I think is a great little bit of comic. It doesn't make any sense why they'd fucking stop and wait for them to have finished their argument. But then they all are. So they panic. David grabs a bin, chucks it through the window so they can all get in, and Shaun actually has like a hero moment after all this. He finally mans up and he stands up and he attracts them all and runs away. So there they are. They're in the Winchester. Shaun's plan has come to fruition, and so far it's only possibly cost them 2 of their lives. So good plan there, Shaun. So they're waiting about, and you know, David's saying like good riddance sort of thing, but here he comes. Shaun's done it. He's make a big heroic comeback. Liz and Ed both look at him lustfully as he walks in, like, oh, he's back. Our boy is back. Oh, how'd you get rid of them? Oh, they're just slow. It's fine. Don't worry about it. This isn't going to come back to bite us anyway. So, you know,
back to bite us.
Hey.
Very good.
So he says the quote from like the beer mat and stuff, and they're all looking at him heroically and like, what are we going to do now? And we smash cut to, you know, it's gone dark and they just got beer bottles everywhere, and the plan legitimately is just to sit in an empty pub,
wait for all of us to blow over.
They try and get the TV on, and it's great. It's such a mundane way to enter like the third act. Like, it's like movies do not do this. It's all about like rising action, and we do have rising action, and this movie just goes, ah! No. no. Now it's about getting the TV on. So he goes to like, you know, the mains boards, and he's flicking switches, and the cellar door like lights up, and there's like 100 fucking zombies in there. He just flicks it back and ignores it. But it's worked. The electric's back on, and Ed wins at the slots. He loves it, and he shouts. And this is something nice. I love how there's sound effects that Edgar likes to reuse. So the sound effects from the slots, that is the legitimate sound that slot made. And that gets reused again in Hot Fuzz when they have the shootout in the pub. It's
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a nice use.
Don't they use it in the third one as well? I'm sure they use it in the third one as well.
It must be there somewhere.
There's a pub. There's plenty of pubs. There has to be
plenty of pubs in that film.
The King's Head, one of the pubs that Ed mentions, that is one of the pubs in the World's End as well.
Oh yeah.
But that attracts all the fucking zombies, and they're all scraping at the windows and stuff. It's a great effect as well with the shadows. It works. It's really well.
Yeah.
We finally got to the stage where Shaun's mom is turning. She can't lie about it anymore, and it's all going down. And we kind of have this moment of, you keep the hilarity of it, but like there's like one big joke bit left, and I think everything else in this movie until the very end is like, it's very dark very quickly. So the big joke bit is all the zombies start like trying to come in, and the music goes off, and Don't Stop Me Now starts playing, and that attracts John, the landlord, and he comes in, and they beat him to death with pool cues in time with the music.
So good.
And do you know what I love? You see these little things, because obviously doing that scene will have been what made him want to do Baby Driver, and you do that whole gimmick for like a movie.
I watched a thing about how they filmed that, and while they were filming it, they couldn't have the actual music playing while they were doing it, because it would, they needed the clean audio. But so they had earpieces in with the music playing they obviously like rehearsed it so they could do it in time with the music, but they all had like earpieces in with the music playing so that they could do it to the music. But like, if you imagine that without the music, it's just a bunch of people going hitting some old man with some pool cues.
It's great as well, isn't it? Because he just hunches up like you might, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great comic imagery. But yeah, it's the things go crazy. They deal with John. They throw him into the jukebox, and more zombies are coming in, and it's all a bit hectic. And eventually, in the chaos, the gun goes off, and they realize, holy shit, it is. Ed's like, I fucking told you, it's a real gun. And what's the debate they have earlier about
dogs can't look up?
Yeah, dogs can look up. So they get the gun, but they all collectively realize that even though they play FPSs, they wouldn't be able to use a real gun. So Shaun becomes this like 4-man turret, essentially. They like spin him around and aim him. It's great. He misses like 4 shots, but then gets like a really good headshot. The blood fucking explodes in the back. It's a great shot. But yeah, like we say, that's like one of the last like really major things that's like comic and funny, as Shaun's mom like properly goes, and she confesses to him that it's over, and there's David with the gun. You said it yourself. You said it earlier about Phil. It's not your mum anymore. Come on, we got to deal with her. And Simon Pegg does a really good, like, emotional performance. He's breaking down, he's crying, his voice is cracking, desperately trying to save his mum. But again, it's a quite comical standoff. So Shaun's got a glass to David's neck. Ed's got a glass to David's neck. But then Diane realizes that she's got a supportive boyfriend, so Ed smashes another glass and gives that one to Diane so she can hold it against Shaun's neck. And while they're arguing and it's getting more hectic, Liz eventually breaks it up. But that's it. Shaun's mom's turned and she rises in the background of the shot and she's properly gone. And it's up to Shaun to take the shot, which when I first watched it, like, that is probably the bit in this movie that actually legitimately scared me. That felt like a real horror. The idea of, like, shooting your own mum in the head, that's fucking dark, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are you coming up with those ideas?
End, did they?
No, they just left him in the car, yeah. So yeah, it's this really intense thing, and he eventually does it. But David's still not got any class and fucking has a little jab at him. Shaun turns around and punches him one. Apparently, when they showed this film in America for the first time, they showed it off at a festival, they actually had a really lively crowd who cheered when Shaun punched David in the face. Which I think is great fun, because you just wouldn't get that in British cinemas. You know, the closest I've been was people cheering when the Star Wars logo came on for The Force Awakens. People were so excited about that.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, some people in my cinema tried to start clapping an Endgame when people were coming through the portals, and then by like Black Panther's like the second or third one, and a little bit after that, everyone collectively realized that this is stupid. We're just gonna watch the movie.
Yeah.
The one I love the most is when you get like an audible gasp across the whole cinema when something happens. That's good. Clapping and wooing. Get that shit out of here.
See,
when you hear everyone just go. Like,
yeah. I got one of those when we watched Joker for the first time. That bit at the end where he gets what he fucking deserves. Everyone, like, the woman in front of me.
I've heard quite a lot of stories of people gasping at that. I mean, it's edited well. It's very quick.
Happened, and the woman went like that at the back of the chair. She did it as the gunshot went off, and like I was just watching it, and then like right at the front of me, it was at IMAX as well, so massive screen. I was just watching like that, and then the corner thing, I just hear because I had like my feet on the chair, not in a rude way, at the bottom. You know, I was being respectful, but I just felt my foot just go like into my chest. I was like, what just happened? And she was like, all shocked. I was like, oh my god, chill out. She scared me more because of the gun going off. Christ, calm down. Well,
maybe she was actually just trying to get your feet off the back. Maybe this was, you know, she spent
the whole movie
2 hours forward, and she's like, fuck this guy. Boom!
Throws me across the room.
So he decks David, and David goes to fucking shoot Shaun, but they've used the last bullet, and everyone kind of has to have this moment of realization that, oh my god, he was gonna actually fucking kill him. Oh my god. And David's even shocked himself, so he backs off towards the window, and all the zombies come through and grab him and pull him into the horde and pull all of his guts out. It's
brilliant,
isn't it? I think it works because even though it's a zombie movie, they've paced themselves on gore very well. Yeah. Aside from like the blood from headshots, you know, that's the first time it properly gets ridiculous. You know, if you'd been seeing that for the whole 2 hour runtime, you'd have no effect. But it's the first time it happens, and you're like, oh my god, that's all of his insides, and then his legs come off, and his head's getting
ripped off.
Yeah, and I love the little Diane runs off into the horde of zombies with his leg and trying to use it as a weapon. So now we're down to 3. Pete's shown up. He's still butt naked because he was in the shower when. Oh, fuck a doodle do. And Pete and the landlord's wife bite into Ed. Ed earlier was like making Molotov cocktails. They try and use them. The whole bar is fucking going on fire. Really, really nice shot of just after Shaun and Liz have jumped over the bar. You get a really nice wide of them lying against the fridge, and there's like 100 zombies all climbing after them.
Yeah.
It's only there for like a second, but it's really, really good. Ed eventually joins them, and they go into the cellar. And Shaun can't figure out how to get the cellar door open to get out. So it's like, right, we're fucked. And again, I'm really like, it's quite comically written, but another really somber scene where they all just sit there and they're like, right, we're just going to have to, got a couple bullets left. So who's going to shoot who? We've got to shoot each other. We're not going to be zombies. It's like oh, I can't do it. I'll just cock it up. Like, so Shaun's like, so, you, me. It's great. And they have one last cigarette, and the lighter shows them that, oh my god, there's elevator controls, we can actually get out. So they give the gun to Ed, like a sort of saving glory. They have one last emotional scene where Ed lets out one last fart. I'll stop doing them when you stop laughing.
Doesn't he do the thing where he apologises first before he smells it?
Yeah. Sorry, Shaun.
I do that all the time.
Okay. No, sorry, Shaun.
I do that to Bethany all the time. Oh, that's amazing. The thing where like I say sorry and then no, it's fine, doesn't matter.
So yeah, they ascend, and Jessica Hines is back. She's got the army. All of her crew are like safe because she's done the sensible thing, and it's a big action thing to sort of deal with it. And then we cut 6 months later, and I fucking adore this so much. So it's 6 months later. Zombies are on obstacle courses. Zombies are on Trisha. Like, it's so good. But this is what the British television industry would fucking do. Like,
especially back then as well.
Yes, it's great. And and Shaun and Liz are living together. They're in Shaun's old house, but it's all nice and tidy now. And Shaun goes into the shed, and there's Ed. He's living there. They've chained him up, but he can still play video games together. And I think that's really, really nice, really sweet little ending.
Weren't they going to do a sequel to this as well?
Plans exist.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
because in Thingy, don't they? There's in Into the Spider-Verse. When he goes to the alternate universe, one of the posters in Times Square is for the sequel for this film.
Is
you
it?
Can spot. Yeah. So it's called. What was it called? It was called. I'm gonna have to look because now you can. Yeah, the poster for it.
Pun about vampires. I'm sure they were gonna put vampires.
It was.
In it.
Yeah, it was.
From Dusk Till Shaun.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
yeah.
Dusk Till Shaun. Yeah, and the poster for it's in the background when he goes to Times Square in the alternate universe in that film.
See, this is really weird, isn't it? Because Shaun of the Dead's one of the most beloved films in this trilogy.
You found it.
Yeah, there it is. See?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Because it's him as a zombie in the poster as well, yeah.
Yeah,
he got Edgar Wright's permission to do it, and he said, "Yeah, that's fine." Yeah,
that is really cool.
Yeah,
because it's one of these where this movie's really beloved. I don't think it's my favorite in the trilogy. I think Hot Fuzz is still my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite.
But it's really, really beloved, and it's easy to see why. Plans did exist, and they at least wrote some stuff down, even if it was only in note form. But the legacy of Shaun of the Dead is really odd because, you see things like that, little Easter eggs, and Edgar's always happy to have things like that happen. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen is Shaun and Ed cameo in an episode of Phineas and Ferb.
What?
Do they? Mad.
I'm rewatching that on Disney Plus at the minute.
Yes, it was quite late on. It's when they started doing like the little crossovers with the Avengers and stuff, and one of them, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, reprised their roles to cameo. Amelia's just found it, clearly.
What?
Isn't that the strangest crossover
That's bizarre.
ever? Like, that is... The target audience of Phineas and Ferb could not be further away from the target audience of this.
Wow.
And yet there they are.
That's crazy.
So it's a weird legacy. I feel like if From Dusk Till Dawn or any other idea they might want to do was to be announced like tomorrow, there would be an unbelievable amount of hype around it. You know, I think people want to see these people work together again. But if that was it, out of all of them, it's that. I think that's the one that's probably going to get the most hype and excitement. And I'd like to see it. I think whatever they want to do, it's going to be fun. So yeah, that was Shaun of the Dead. What we're going to do is we're going to go around in a circle and we're going to give any final thoughts we have on the movie, and we're each going to give it a score out of 10, and then I'm going to use math to get an overall score out of 100, and we're going to see where it ranks on a list to the best to worst movies of all time. Amelia, kick us off.
Yeah, so like I say, I watched this film for the first time probably late last year, because as I say, I think I was just too young when these first came out to like even think about watching them, and yeah, they're good. They're fun films. I enjoy it. It's so British, like you say. I love a British movie. It's so fab. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one about a 9, I think. 9,
fair. Jacob.
Yeah, I love this. But I mean, I always struggle to try and rank Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Always trying to decide which one's better than the other. But I think this one's good, and it's brilliant, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I'm going to go 9 out of 10 for this one.
9. You know what I've just realised before I pass over to you, Joe, is all three of those boys are all slightly resembling Simon Pegg's incarnations in these movies.
I was going to say something about it.
I know it's not a goatee, but you've got the beard of Shaun. Jacob, you're clean shaven and shorter hair like Nicholas Angel, and I've got dyed black hair and a little ginger beard.
We were talking about World's End earlier, and I was like, "Oh my god,
that's amazing!"
Shit. Halloween sorted, mate. Let's all go with Simon Pegg.
Yes. We go with Simon Pegg.
Yes. Joe, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I mean, obviously, I studied this in college, so I've seen this more times than I care to count. It was a similar thing with Vertigo, where I'd seen it so much that I just couldn't watch it anymore. But this film, luckily, I did this one in the first year, whereas I did Vertigo in the second. So Vertigo, the whole doing so much research in that was so... Plus, with the Vertigo one, it was just that film I was analysing, so there was even more with Vertigo, and it kind of, I watched that one even more, and I was like, ugh. Whereas this one, I've had a bit more time to just, not watch it for bloody 5 years or something, however long it's been. God, is it in 5 years? Jesus. So, it's not as... I've literally not watched it since the first year of college. So, going back into it, it's not... It's... I don't have as much of a hatred for it anymore. That music at the very beginning, when, during the opening montage where they're all, like, shuffling and whatever. I hated that music so much that when I went, because that same piece of music appears in Snatch as well, and I had to mute it when it came on in Snatch because I just couldn't stand it.
I think it's called The Blue Wrath. I've got that on my Spotify, so let's hope it doesn't come on and shuffle.
No, well, I mean, this is the thing. It came on in this, and I found that I didn't hate it as much as I used to.
Oh, good.
So I've got, so because of that. But then that's the thing, though. That's the problem. It's still, the film itself still tainted a little bit. Because I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my god. I'm remembering things that I had to write down. And I'm like, fucking hell. So I don't want that to affect, because it's a good film. It's a good film. But it affected the way I watched it. So, based on the viewing I did recently...
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give it like I was going to say 6, but that seems really low. Because it's a good film. But, no, I'm just going to have to say 6, because my viewing's tainted of it. I can't... It's nothing to do with the film. Well, no, it is the film. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to... No, you know what? No, I'll say 7. I'll say 7. I'll say 7. I'll say 7. Because it's a good film.
Okay. So, I am going to give it a 9, I think, as well. It's really, really good. The filmmaking is spectacular. It's one of these movies that I can watch endlessly, but I don't quite like it enough to be a 10. It doesn't quite give me, like... There's something about really spectacular filmmaking that just seems so effortless. And this is pretty close, but it's just not quite there. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 as well, which gives it an overall score of 85 out of 100. So I have just one question for y'all this time. Only one movie to compare it to. Amelia, Shaun of the Dead or Die Hard?
I mean, I don't wish to offend Jacob, but I can't. I've watched Die Hard once, and I don't think I'll probably watch it again. But that's just because it's not my kind of a film. Like, it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'll come to like it more. But if I had to choose out the two, for me, it would be Shaun of the Dead.
Jacob, tough decision, I know.
This is a very tough decision. Okay, it would be a lot tougher if it was Hot Fuzz and Die Hard.
Yeah.
Because I think Hot Fuzz was my favourite of those three. And it's up there as one of my favourites. But I don't want to no. Die Hard or Shaun of the Dead. I think Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe?
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm going to go for Shaun, which puts it a tie, which gives us host bias, so that it does beat it. So that makes it the third greatest movie of all time, just below Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
Pretty fucking good going.
Not disappointed that Die Hard's unbeaten by Shaun of the Dead.
It's a good movie to lose to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of, by the way, I don't think we've ever really mentioned this before, but you can see our total list. It's on IMDb. You'll find it in the description of either the podcast or below the video. Check it out, and you'll see every single movie we've covered on there and where we rank them. So that all brings us to the most important part of the show, and that's finding out what we're going to be watching next week. Amelia, let us know.
Hello. So I was looking through Disney Plus because I feel like while we've got it and it's new, it's a good chance to kind of watch some stuff. But I was like, we've watched a couple of Disney animated films now, and I kind of didn't really know what to pick. But then some other stuff's been added recently, and I don't know why this film's been added. I'm going to have to look into it. But I watched this film for the first time this year, and it's by a director I very much love. And I just think it's so whimsical and mad, and it's got a nice little message to it, and the ending I wasn't expecting. So I really want us to have a little chat about Edward Scissorhands.
Ooh, okay.
Fun. Okay. I think I've only seen a handful of that,
I've never watched it.
I've watched it. It's really good, but I didn't realise that was on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus now. That's what I mean. I don't know why.
I didn't think that was Disney. I know it's Tim Burton, I suppose, but
is it Fox?
If it's Fox, that'll be why.
It must be.
Maybe. Mad.
Because they have still got a bunch of stuff that a survey went out a little bit ago asking people if they'd want to see Whedon's stuff on there, like Firefly and Buffy.
Oh,
because they got access to it, but they don't actually know if people want to. Anyway, yeah, cool, right, exciting. Yeah, I've only seen a handful of that movie, and I'm excited to see the whole thing. So, thank you very much for watching this episode on Shaun of the Dead. Let us know what you think of the movie and the episode in the comments down below. You can rate us on your favorite podcasting apps as well. Follow us on social media by searching for the Real Outtakes on Twitter and Instagram. Did I ask for likes and subscribes? This is the messiest one I think I've done so far. If I've not asked, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button, see when our next episode's coming out. No episodes every single Monday. You can find us on YouTube by searching for the Outtakes Movie Podcast, and you can find us on your favorite podcasting apps by searching for the exact same. And I think that's all the plugs.
Yeah.
Sweet,
plugs.
Good, excellent.
I've got plugs here.
Nice! He's got plugs!
Very good.
About time I got a plug here.
Amazing. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.